Welcome to Galloway Lights. Well, I renamed it. Let's be frank. I don't know, people like my name. At least they want to use my name. So now it's Let's Be Frank. No more Galloway Lights. Although you'll see the Galloway Lights name on all of the boxes, so I'm not taking it off. Too much work. Why am I here today? I want to talk about bee boxes. I know a lot of you guys are buying boxes right now, and there was a crave last year called, what kind of joint do you want to put on your box? Do you want the dovetail where they stick together in those little pieces? Do you want the rabbit joint where one kind of tucks in front side the other? Or do you want the miter joint? Which is stronger? I tested all the different kinds just to see what they would act like under pressure. And I'll tell you one, this miter joint is interesting. It doesn't have much when you're putting your screw in here to grab on this little tab. If you get it back here further, it's got some meat, maybe put on a little bit of an angle. And it's kind of hard to get the two of them to line up. Well, the rabbit joint is my favorite because it's got this little ledge here. It sits there, it's a no game changer. You just nail it together, can't mess this one up. But the problem is, everybody complains about exposed grain. This little part here on the end of the board, it's exposed. And it's the weakest spot where the water wants to get sucked in like a straw. So this has a little bit of exposed grain, whereas your dovetail has every other board has got a big exposed grain. Whereas the miter has not much of anything exposed. But if it opens one way or the other, it gets huge. So the question is, how is the miter holding up? Well, if you ever watch some of my bee videos, there's boxes that have a stripe on them, like this. These are the mitered boxes. So I could find them and identify them easily. And as you can see, there is no opening of the gap there and no exposed grain. Pretty neat. Now this one happens to be done with screws. I've done them with staples. I've done them with just wire. There's different kinds out throughout the bee yard. And it seems like it's holding up pretty well. It's kind of sturdy. And here is an example of the miter, or the rabbit joint. So you can see one is tucked in the front side of the other, and it holds up pretty good as long as you got the wood grain going the right direction and it doesn't expand out and open up the tops. It does a pretty good job. But as you can see, sometimes the wood wants to curve out. If you got the grain, see how it's like a curve like this? It kind of wants to flatten out like that. Well, sometimes it doesn't quite do that. As you can see, the grain is in the proper direction, but it still opens up a little bit. Let's go take a look at a couple more miters. Here's one that's just staples. And as you can see, no end grain. Very tight joint as compared to the rabbit on the bottom with all that exposed wood. Pretty interesting. Here's the other side. That's just staples. Same with that one. Staples and glue. Here's another one. It's a miter. Just staples, it looks like. Ah, the sun's the wrong direction. Let's try this side. Nice tight joint. And there's your rabbit. Not bad. Holding up pretty good for a simple joint. Here's the other one. It's open up a little bit. Well, while I'm out here, I wanted to see how this colony's doing. This is one of my swarms that I caught last year. They've overwintered and they were small. I just wanted to compare how the small colonies did, which weren't combined together with other queens in that big stack like I did yesterday. This colony was left on its own, no help from anybody nearby, and it looks like it's got a little bit of stuff started in there, not much. I just want to see how big it's doing. Are they better off by themselves, or are they better off stacked on top of each other, working together. Looks like they got some juices going on. They're storing it up. Now let's go ahead and let's put it back in here since we have room. And as you guys know, these frames in here, some of them were mess ups. I put 2 bottoms on the frame. See, there's a bottom and there's a bottom. So I put these little metal tabs on the sides to make a quick repair. And actually, this is the queen. See her with the green dot? She's just cruising around. Right there. She's got some food in there in the corners. Getting ready to cap that over. And what do we have on the other side? We have some swarm cells. We actually call these supersedure cells only because they're in the middle of the frame. Do they have anything in them? No, those cups are empty. So we're still good to go. But because they're here, I like to crack them open. And so I know that they have been checked. There's 3 of them there. So I know when they make them again. Actually, let's take them completely out of there. Make sure we still have the queen on there. Yes, we do. Back in she goes. So this is her first frame of solid brood. So that's 1 frame of brood. Two frames of brood. Got a couple of these bumpy out ones on this corner here. They look like little mountains. They're drones. So if they got swarm cells, they may be in the idea of swarming. So maybe we need to add a box. That's what I was afraid of. Every 7 to 10 days they say to get out here and look at your bees. Especially in the swarm season. Because that's how long it takes for them to make a nice new queen. What's that, number 3 of brood? Both sides. It's got a little bit of pollen in the center there. Just bumped them, so now they're a little nervous on me. What's that, number 4? Solid brood. Like a carpet, one side to the other. And now it looks like we're off into the food area. Nope, actually they got some brood in here too. Both sides. That's 5. Maybe this is the food area. There you go. Looks like they got eggs in there. See if I can get the sun just right. That around. This should be food. There we go. There's your glistening food frame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the food frames and put them in the top here. That way they have lots of room for more babies, so they don't have to swarm on me. See if I can find that other food frame on this side. There's this one here. I think this one is the one that had the queen on it. That is the other problem. You need to make sure the queen is in the bottom. Ah, yeah, there she is. Right here walking around. Let's see if we can find another one of those capped brood frames. There we go. We'll stick that up in the top. That way when they hatch out, they can fill them babies up with food. Let's see if we can find one more. There we go. We'll take this one. Stick that up in the top. Then we'll move these others together. Fill out the rest with drawn comb. That way she has more space to lay and less tendency to swarm on me. These boxes all together nice and tight so they don't glue them together too bad. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we need a queen excluder. This will keep the queen in the bottom and the honey in the top. There's our mitered frame box. Sitting right there on top. And our rabbit joint on the bottom. I'll fill in the rest of these with some drawn comb. They can make honey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's make this a 9 space. That way they can make them nice and fat. And this repair is a little long. So what we'll do is we'll modify it. See if we can jam it down in there. There we go. Put our lid on. Whoops, got some burrs in the way. I'm gonna stick the wax that I took off right down in there. See if they reuse it or not. I'm not sure. Put on the lid. And that should be it. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Let's be frank.